I'm not gonna lie to you guys, the R9-0 used to be my favorite shotgun at launch, but after getting a nasty stealth nerf to its one-shot range, it started to just go downhill. It never really felt the same, and I just kind of drifted away from it. And it stayed like that until today. Because today, we finally have Dragon's Breath on the R9-0, and oh boy, is it strong. And I'm having flashbacks to the pre-nerf R9-0 now, and it's actually amazing, and I'm loving it so far. It's so much better than the base version. If you want the straight quick rundown, this basically, just like with the VLK Rogue, just buffs the gun overall, with the exception of the overall hit marker range. The one-shot kill range gets an awesome increase, and the one-shot burn and two-shot burn distance is also pretty amazing as long as you hit your pellets. So this is my guide for Dragon's Breath on the R9-0 in Modern Warfare. We'll go over it in multiplayer first, and then switch to how it plays in Warzone. As always, timestamps will be in the description. As a note, you can unlock this via in-game challenge or by buying a new Nikto bundle that's in the store. Of course, the most important factor here is the damage profile. With the Dragon's Breath attachment, you get a base hit of pellet damage as always, with the 3 ticks of burn damage that adds an additional 30 or so points of damage. They basically balance this by weakening the overall pellet damage so that of course it doesn't just break the gun and make it crazy overpowered. With the base R9-0, you get a one-shot kill range with no Dragon's Breath of about 4 meters, which is pretty bad. It's really not that great. Nothing special, and it's comparable to the Origin 12's one-shot range. With Dragon's Breath, however, the initial one-shot kill range, meaning no burn over time, is about 9.2 meters. That's crazy. That's basically a 30% increase in that initial one-tap kill range, and that's not even with the burn damage. That is not an exaggeration. Dragon's Breath on the R9-0 actually gives it back that pre-nerf one-shot kill range that it used to have. This is extremely powerful up close, and it performs beautifully, and honestly, this is the true power that comes from the attachment. Of course, we also have a distance at where the burn itself can kill you along with the initial hit of pellets, and this distance is going to be around 11 meters. So if you don't hit many pellets up close, it's possible that burn may end up finishing off your target. Having that 9-meter one-shot kill range without even having the burn is definitely what puts the R9-0 back on the map. But like I said, the downside with this attachment is that you can't hit targets past a certain distance because your pellets disappear, and with Dragon's Breath this distance gets shorter. Dragon's Breath decreases your overall hit marker range down to 17.6 meters, down from the base 21.5 meters, which is basically a 18% decrease in overall range. Before moving on, let's take a look at the 2-tap range, just because that's kind of the unique aspect of the R9-0, so I don't really want to neglect that either. The base R9-0 with Dragon's Breath, fully aiming down sights, can 2-tap at roughly 16.9 meters, so basically 17 meters. Very respectable, but this means that you have to aim down sights, and this was tested on a non-moving target who was facing towards me, so most of the time, you won't really be getting this 2-tap very consistently. It's possible, but it's not going to be often against players who actually move, so just be warned about that. But the potential and damage is there, and you can definitely try getting people from that far by playing cat and mouse and weaving in and out of cover. But I can't emphasize enough how great the one-shot kill range is for this gun now. I mean, it is strong, and for whatever reason, it performs a lot more consistently than the other shotguns with Dragon's Breath on. Even the VLK Rogue, which can sometimes be a little wonky, but that's a really strong shotgun, right? But this one, in my opinion, is even better. Okay, now let's dive into some range attachments to see how they affect it. As you can see, the choke is more useful than the monolithic suppressor by a small bit, and the tac sentry gets an impressive increase up to 11.8 meters for the burn distance, giving it a 7% increase to overall range. The Gemini, the tac Gemini barrel, actually takes a nasty hit of about an 11% decrease, so I really don't ever recommend this barrel at all, and the spread is wider than normal too, so just avoid it. Seriously, don't ever touch it. Combining the tac sentry with the choke though gives us a 12% increase in range, and the one-shot burn distance is going to be at about 12.3 meters. This is definitely the way I recommend running the gun, and I've had really good success using it with these two attachments. Just to clarify, the monolithic suppressor doesn't really seem to be more beneficial than the choke here in range, and since the choke also tightens pellet spread as well, it's going to make the gun more consistent than the monolithic as well. In Warzone, you could probably be okay with the monolithic since having a suppressed gun is useful, but the choke in multiplayer is the way to go. If you play hardcore, again, use the tac sentry in the choke, and you'll be able to hit people from close to 20-ish meters. Overall, in multiplayer, this gun with Dragon's Breath is basically the pre-nerf R9-0, and it's definitely an A ranking shotgun, if not S. I mean, it's seriously good with Dragon's Breath. Trust me. Now I can reliably one-shot people up to about 9 meters just hip firing with one tap and wait to fire my second shot. With normal buckshot, I almost always need those 2 shots, but not anymore, and honestly, it's amazing, and I'm going to be running this in standard multiplayer quite a bit now. It's just a buff in pretty much every way imaginable for the gun, except for that hit marker range, so you need to run this gun now. On to Warzone. Now, the Dragon's Breath R9-0 functions like the other shotguns with this attachment. It has the normal shotgun damage, but it adds the additional burn damage on top, and it doesn't reduce the shell damage, so what you get is a standard up close max damage of around 230 points. The base R9-0 usually does about 200-ish points of damage, and with Dragon's Breath you get those 3 ticks of burn damage which do about 10 health each, so your total is around 230. This number may not be exact since I don't have access to numbers in Warzone like I do in multiplayer, so I just use my Warzone health guide to use as a reference. This is enough to kill someone who is missing at least 1 armor plate. This max damage range can extend up to 3.2 meters, which isn't as good as the Origin's max damage range for whatever reason, but it's basically on par with the Model 680 with Dragon's Breath. Past that 3.2 meters and up to 8.3 meters, it drops to about 170 points of damage, just like the Model 680. This is the ideal range to be at with this gun and is enough to break all armor plates and take off a little bit of health. Past that, it will drop down to about 110 points of damage or so, and after that, I didn't really bother going into detail because that is not the right way to be using the shotgun. It can still do damage, but it's going to take at least 4 shots to kill if you're past that range, so I just don't recommend it. Instead, you're going to have to play smart and stick to that initial 8 to 10 meter range that is basically a sweet spot for all shotguns. But the closer the better, obviously. I mean, it's a shotgun, what do you expect? With the choke and the tac sentry barrel, which I recommend all the time when using this gun, it's going to take that max range up to 3.9 meters, which is a 22% increase. The choke and the tac sentry both help your spread to hit pellets more consistently, so I recommend using this setup both in Warzone and in multiplayer. Now, how does it fare in Warzone? It's great. While I don't think it's as amazing as it is in multiplayer, I think it's a top tier shotgun now with the right attachments. You can tear through people with 2 shots in many cases if you play your cards right, and you don't even have to aim down sights. It's such a powerhouse of a gun now with it that there really is no reason to use buckshot at all. Seriously, there's really no reason when it comes to Warzone or multiplayer, really. Stopping power here doesn't help as much as with the other shotguns, sadly. The damage you do in the max damage range of 3.2 meters is enough to one-shot down someone, but past that, it'll still take 2 shots to down, so it's nice and obviously does some work, but it's not as good as it is on the Origin 12, for example. As far as counters, E.O.D is a soft counter in multiplayer, with it basically just delaying the burn, but it still does the same amount of damage. In Warzone though, it will delay the burn as well as protect you from about 6% of the damage of the burns. It's definitely a good perk to have against Dragon's Breath, but really it still won't save you much in close quarters, especially against the R9-0 now. As for my class setup with it, it's the same for both Warzone and multiplayer. I use the tac sentry in the choke, always, the 5mm laser, the stippled grip, and of course Dragon's Breath. I really recommend using the tac sentry and choke all the time. The bonus to your damage range is nice, but it's mostly for that consistent pellet spread. The monolithic suppressor is okay, but it doesn't tighten the pellet spread nor give you as much range, so choose wisely. I always opt for the choke personally. And there you have it, guys, the new shotgun to reign supreme, and honestly it may be a contender for best shotgun in multiplayer and Warzone. I mean, it's really that good now. I'm not sure if it's better than the Model 680 or 725 in a lot of cases, but it's seriously up there with them. I wouldn't say it's below them. It's definitely on par with them, if not better. You just have to play smart and hit your pellets, but its 2-tap potential is so good now, and that 1-shot potential in multiplayer is just, God, it's so good. So this gun gets a badass seal of approval. If you are using the R9-0 without Dragon's Breath, you are using it incorrectly. It's just basically the way to go now, and it's a lot of fun, so I seriously recommend you guys trying it now. And that's about it for this video, so let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this gun? Am I overhyping it now with this attachment? Do you think it's still meh, or do you think, like me, that it's really good now? Also, if you like Call of Duty content and you like shotguns in Call of Duty, be sure to subscribe to my channel because I have many more gun guides and content coming, especially when Black Ops Cold War drops. And with all that being said and out of the way, I will see you guys in the next video.